Just like the last session, that we are recording this, so it's going to be posted later. I think you probably have to accept in order to move on. I think we'll give it just another minute. Most people were probably coming directly from that last session though, so we're probably close. Thanks for introducing yourself in the chat. I am so excited for that you just got to hear from Dr. Ferdinand and get inspired. Now the inspiration will continue with our wonderful guest, Andy Van Allsburg here. I'm excited to be able to introduce Andy and invite him back to Michigan virtually. Andy is in his 5th season with the choral group Chanticleer. Originally from Holland, Michigan, Andy received his bachelor's of music ed from Western Michigan in Kalamazoo. So he's Michigan born and bred. During his undergrad, Andy performed with the University Chorale, directed by Dr. James Bass, and recorded and released an album of the Monteverdi Vespers of 1610 with the Miami-based professional group Seraphic Fire, directed by Patrick Quigley. In addition, Andy conducted the choir of the early music ensemble Collegium Musicum and won a Downbeat Award with the vocal jazz ensemble Gold Company under the direction of the late Dr. Steve Zagreen. A versatile performer, Andy has performed globally for various cruise lines, production companies, contemporary a cappella groups, musicals, and has made TV appearances on the Oprah Winfrey Show and Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I'm going to break into your bio here because my favorite group name that I've ever heard is Andy performed with a group called the Cat's Pajamas, and it's just the coolest group. I think that was an a cappella kind of pop group.
Yeah, it was.
Wonderful. While living in New York City, Andy sang with Scola Dominicana in the Church of St. Catherine of Siena, directed by James Wenzel, and was a featured singer in the Radio City Christmas Spectacular featuring the Rockettes under the musical direction of Kevin Stites. Andy enjoys traveling, spending time with friends and family, and can throw a mean frisbee, and is a fantastic drummer, I will add. So please welcome Andy Van Allsburg.
Thank you, Eric. It is kind of funny to have your bio read to you, but that's great. And actually, the first part of that could be describing himself as well. Mr. Jacobson was at Western Michigan with me, and also performed on the Seraphic Fire Monteverdi Vespers CD, which was an incredible experience. That kind of got us into touring, huh? I mean, kind of really opened the door to the life of a choral musician, especially for me, who's doing it now. But hello, everybody. Yes, my name is Andy Van Allsburg. I live in San Francisco now. This is my 5th season, as Eric said, with Chanticleer. And I'm going to do my best today to talk a little bit about choral technique, warm-ups, recording, the piece that you're going to be recording after this, and then maybe get to some Q&A later on in the session. But I wanted to start by saying that exactly 15 years ago, I was exactly where you guys are now. Not necessarily in a Zoom session, right? But in the Michigan Youth Arts Festival at Dalton Center, Western Michigan University. That was my first time in the All-State Choir. It was my senior year of high school. It was still pretty new to me, but it's really special for me to be here with you guys right now because this is very much a full circle moment for me. And if you're lucky enough to have those a couple of times in your career, it's a real blessing to have that. So thank you guys. Thank you for being here. And I hope you enjoy this experience even half as much as I did when I was doing it. So I would love to share some media with you from Chanticleer. Just to kind of give you an idea of what I do, what Chanticleer has been doing the last year. The first little video I want to show you is kind of how we got started kind of doing some things from home during the pandemic. We did a couple of more poppy tunes, recorded ourselves from home, and I thought it might be especially applicable for you guys since you're just going to be doing a recording from home as well. So please enjoy a little bit of some Chanticleer stuff we did over quarantine. The first 2 videos are our first 2 quarantine music videos, and the second 2 clips are from our Live from London performance as part of the Voce 8 Live from London Festival back in September. So give me a thumbs up if you can hear the music and see the screen once I get it started. So here we go. Okay, now it's giving me to share your computer audio. Please install the Zoom audio device. Can you still hear me, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's working now. I did
Yeah,
this last night. It told me to install a Zoom audio device, so I'm sorry for this.
I don't think you have to do it. It's fine. You can override it.
Okay, fantastic. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear and see it. Here we go.
Love is always better when we take time to get back to who we are. When we are apart, distance makes the grow. Even when I'm lonely, happy knowing that your love is never far. When we are apart, distance makes
All right. I'll stop there for now. Oh, thank you very much. I'll stop there for now. I have a couple more clips, but just in observance of time, we'll keep moving on right now. Mr. Cadena is in the waiting room. Hello, Mr. Cadena. Another Western Michigan alum, right? I guess I don't know if he can hear us yet. Well, anyway, he's the man. Anyway, there he is. Hey, nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Okay. I am going to move on here. Let's see. So, okay, warming up. This is a big thing. In the last year, we've been having to do this from home on our own, right? And kind of working in good choral techniques and good techniques into the warm-up situation is just such a good idea and just overall beneficial to your voice. So, let's not just sit in our chairs the whole time. Let's get up and do something. So everybody stand up and let's do some warming up. Get you ready for your recording. Okay, there we go. So, I always like to start my warm-ups with something physical, right? I want to go in a sequential order to best warm up my body in the best way possible, just in the kind of the most sequential, easy way for my body to handle. So I always love to start with something physical. So it can look like it can be a variety of different things, just to shake it out. I like to start sometimes with just some hops. Let the shoulders flop around just a little bit, you know? Just shake it out. You've probably played that warm-up game at some point where you go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, right? And then count down. And by the time you're done, you're just like loosey-goosey. You feel like a noodle, right? Yeah, it's always good to get the blood moving, right? Just like an athlete will warm up his or her body, get the blood moving before they do anything athletic. I like to do the same thing for singing, right? Because singing is the only full body instrument. It's the only internal instrument. All of this affects what's going on right here. You want to release all this tension, right? Okay, shake it out just a little bit longer. Yeah. All right, just give yourself some rubbing, some pats. Pat it down. Just kind of get into the body. Yeah. Okay. From there, once I've kind of loosened up just a little bit, I want to talk about just a little bit of stretching. I'll roll them back. I always feel that little pop. I tend to carry my stress in my upper back, shoulders, right? Just like a lot of us do. I'm feeling these little cracks and stuff. You got to meet your body where it is today, you know? Maybe you slept funny last night. You've got a crick in your neck. Let's spend a little bit longer on that neck today. Oh yeah, just relax into a stretch of the neck. Roll it to the other side. You're like, oh, there's that crick. Okay, yep, just a little bit of easy. Yeah, pause there for a second longer. Maybe you, did some hiking or something and your legs are a little bit sort of sore. I don't know. So maybe just a little bit of marching in place. Start the kind of like flexibility process going. I like to do maybe a little stretch down to the touch the toes sort of thing. You know, it's like it's meeting your body wherever it is that day, you know? Okay, let's talk about the ribs. Let's reach up. My shirt's going to come untucked. Pretending like you're reaching for an apple up in that tree. You're reaching ever so high. Okay, other arm. Oh yeah, that was a nice crack. Other arm. And this is abbreviated for today, of course. I'll spend a little bit longer than I'm going to spend right now on this, but just to kind of give you all the little things that I go through. This stretches out the intercostal muscles, right? Just a nice light stretch to get those ribs to be able to expand as nice as possible. Let you take in as much air as possible for those long choral phrases. Oh yes. All right, now that your hands are up, feel where your ribs are, right? They're really expanded. Let those arms down nice and slow, keeping your ribs right where they are. You feel that expansion? Once you get a little bit more used to it, maybe some of you can do this now, you can kind of, you can do it yourself. Just kind of manipulate those ribs on your own. But if you need a little extra help, the arm technique really works well. Up in the air and let them down, keeping those ribs exactly where they are. Perfect. Let's talk about posture. I like to go kind of top down, kind of stems from an Alexander technique that I studied just a little bit in college. I like to go from the head and then line up on the way down. Some people like to go from bottom up. I just go top down. What I like to think of, and this is totally middle school, but it absolutely works. Think of a little hook right in the very center of your head, right? And that someone is pulling up ever so slightly on that hook. So you're just thinking tall. Oh yeah, yep, I'm just thinking tall. How many things happened right now? I'm thinking tall. My spine is aligned. My ribs just naturally expanded because I'm thinking light on my feet, right? So from there, we've lengthened ourselves. Just make sure your knees aren't locked. Do a little bit of like just slight bends of the knee. Spine is still really straight. Nothing changes up here. Just nice and loose. Yeah, guys, beautiful. All right. So from here, we've talked about physicality. We've talked about some stretching. We've talked about posture. Now we move on to breathing. Okay? Everybody put your hand on your lower abs and just take some nice low breaths, like you're breathing into the floor. Remember the rib thing? We let the arms down, ribs expanded. Those ribs, they stay where they are. All that breathing power comes from down here. Just take some nice low breaths. Mr. Cadena was at Western Michigan just before me, but he would have worked with Dr. Joe Miller, who is now at Westminster. And Joe Miller used to say this thing where he would go, okay, take your nose, right? Everybody do it. Take your nose. And put your noses here. Put them here. Put them here. And put them here. Now breathe through your noses. All right? All that air expands downward. We're not thinking high. We don't want the shoulders to come up. Those shoulders stay where they are. In fact, this is another one that I like to do. Pull them up really tight. Now just let them go. Oh. You feel all that? There's a lot of musculature in those shoulders that tend to affect the voice right here. But doing this, clenching all of those muscles and immediately, just releasing them into the floor, like your shoulders just had a nice big old yawn. Oh. Kind of feeling everything that can affect the shoulders up here. There's a lot of musculature up there, and all it needs to do is stay exactly where it is. Just relaxed. Okay, keep your hand down here. Breathe through your noses. Low breaths. Breathing downward into the floor. Okay? Yes. Here's moving on. Anybody always like high school choir, you start yawning a lot once you get into singing, right? When you're not fully warmed up. Well, I'm sure you've done a lot of those exercises where you exhale on an SH, like 8 counts, 10 counts, and so on. Shh, that one. We're training our body. Those long phrases. I mean, if you think about it, when we're singing, we're breathing extremely slowly. We're expelling that air over a gradual amount of time, very, very slowly, and we have to train our bodies to go, oh, this is fine. I don't need oxygen immediately. No, you just have to train yourself to keep that breath moving, keep that phrase going, okay? So, abbreviated breathing. Shh, getting it like that, using that breath to extend and just having it, last as long as possible. We're training our bodies to do that. We also want to get this musculature down. One thing that I like to do, which is also sort of middle school, is pant like a dog, all right? Put your hands right here. Pant like a little dog. Pant like a big dog. There's so much going on down here. Little dog. Big dog. Okay? Those ribs, like we talked about before, they don't move. They stay in the same place. All of that power comes from down here. Another one you can do to really focus that is pretend that you've got a candle, right? Your pointer finger is a candle. You're going to blow out the flame, not with a, but on an F. Okay? So, do this with me. So when you breathe out on an F, that air coming from you is diffused outward, right? It's not a directed blow of air. It's kind of goes everywhere. So if you imagine trying to blow out a candle on that F consonant, that's nearly impossible. It uses a lot of breath. Okay? That's another good one to use. And if you watch me do this, watch my abs right here. There's a lot of effort that goes into that. Ribs stay there where they are. They can react just a little bit to all of this musculature down here, but they just hang out. They just stay. So all of that power, your breathing, your breath support, your singing support, as we say, all comes from here. None of it's from here. It's all down here, especially those high notes. Okay, moving on. Let's do a little bit of humming. Now that we've warmed up our bodies just a little bit, our breathing, we've gotten ready to sing, and then we add in some vocalism on top of it. So I just like to do some humming right off the bat. It's always great to start in a middle range so you don't overextend your voice too soon, right? Middle range, as if you were to answer the phone and go, hello, hello, hi, ha, ha, middle range. Just natural speaking voice, right? So start about there. Hello, that's about an E for me. I'm still on the phone for some reason. Start nice little 3-note scale, humming, making sure you have some space in your mouth for that to resonate. I'll go up just a little bit. And then work my way down just a little bit. So I'm just ever so gently starting the phonation process, right? From there, I will go. Once I've gotten some phonation going, I'll do some more athletic exercises. She, sa, ska, something like that. To get that sound going, something fricative, plosive. A Z helps with that. Z, z, because it's kind of adding in what we talked about before with the F. C, C, Z, right? You're getting that sound going, immediately engaging your breath before that phonation happens, right? So, from there, after I've started the phonation, I've done some scales, then I'll jump into some resonators. Everybody heard the term the mask or feel it in the mask? Anybody? This is like, right, the mask right here, kind of as if you were wearing like an eye mask, not like the mask we're used to wearing now, but this guy. You're feeling it right here under the eyes. A little bit in the nose. Yeah, all this buzzy area right up here. So an exercise I use for that, I just call the witch. Nya, 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 nya. It's really forward, right? Out the nose. It gets you used to that buzzy feeling that we want to engage to really get that sort of like high frequency cut that will send your sound to the back of the auditorium, right? Yeah, so just try that at home. Let's go. Let's do that. Nya, 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 nya. And I'll go up by half steps. Nya, 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 nya. 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 Sometimes I throw in like a scolding finger because it's fun to use kind of like physicality with it, right? It connects the vocal with something physical, throwing a frisbee, throwing a baseball, that sort of thing. Huh! It gets the body ready to go. Nya, 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 nya. 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 And you don't have to go super high with this one, right? This is, it's so affected and so bright and so gross that you don't want to do this one too long, right? You're just getting used to this feeling at the front of your mouth, okay? So from there, I've gotten some buzz. Now let's add some space. I use the golf ball technique. Everybody hold an imaginary golf ball, all right? Put it in the very back of your mouth. Oh, kind of that yawn feeling, right? What happens? Your soft palate raises. Your larynx drops ever so slightly to kind of a more relaxed, neutral position. Oh. Now, if you were to try and sing in this position, that doesn't sound good. It's all the way back here. Oh. Conversely, it wouldn't sound good to sing in the witch position either. Right? What we're going to do is we're getting used to these resonating spaces, right? Most of the sound resonates in the mouth, some of it down here in the pharynx, right? Some of it up here in your nasal cavities. Most of it's in the mouth. But we're balancing all of those different resonating chambers to be able to get as much space and as much clean, good resonance as possible. So, balancing the two, golf ball space, forward resonance, you're balancing the two right in the middle, right? It's fun to just kind of like affect these sounds, kind of play around with them to find that perfect middle ground. This is probably most effectively done with your voice teacher, someone else who's outside of you, because we always sound a little bit different to ourselves because we're in our own bodies. So a voice teacher is really going to be able to go, that's the sound. That's what you want to do. High school choir director, same kind of thing. If you want to do a little vocalizing for him or her, it's very beneficial for you, right? But we're just balancing that sound. So from here, I'd practice some different vowels. Sometimes I have trouble with E vowels. I'll extend into the upper range. I'll extend into the lower range. A good one for basses on a bright sort of vowel to get down a little bit lower here. Z-A-E-A-E-A-E. All right, and then you go down half steps. Z-A-E-A-E-A-E. And that E vowel, nice and bright for those lower notes, which also helps to cut through the ensemble, to be able to balance that sound a little bit better in a really large space, especially so the people at the back of the house can hear you. Z, Z. And we start on a Z, right, to get that breath going immediately. Z-A-E-A-E-A-E. That's one of my favorite low voice exercises to get down a little bit. So then you kind of expand from there. 5-note, 9-note scale, branch out just a little bit. And I'll say, as a kind of wrap up for the warm-up section here, is just be patient with yourself, right? We're still not in like a together choir setting. Maybe some of you are lucky enough to do so. But if you're not yet, and you're warming up on your own, give yourself time, right? You can't expect your voice to just be ready to go after like 5 minutes. It's just not a thing. It's not how biology works, right? So give yourself time. Whenever I warm up on my own, I always know it's at least 15 minutes. And I take little breaks, right? You've got a water bottle next to you. Just take a nice little break. Let that voice settle again, right? Yes, I love this. Nicholas, RJ, nice, hydrate. So important. Okay, that'll wrap up the little warm-up section that I wanted to tell you. Just giving you some tips and tricks for better, more productive warm-ups. Okay, let's talk about the music. All right, I want to hear from you guys. I don't exactly know how much preparation you've gotten to do over Zoom, some of it in person with your own teachers. I don't even know, but let's just go through a couple of things. Raise your hand, tell me, where does this text come from? At least the first line. What do you got for me? RJ, are you unmuting?
It's Shakespeare, right?
Yeah. Yep. If music be the food of love, play on. Was written by Shakespeare. Exactly. And something I didn't know in my research for this piece, it comes from the Twelfth Night, his play The Twelfth Night. and it's spoken by a duke. And if he says, if music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it, that surfeiting the appetite may sicken and so die. He was so in love with this woman that he was thinking that if you keep giving me this music, maybe I'll tire of it. Sort of like if you'll be satiated, you'll have an excess of food, you will no longer be hungry. He's hoping that hopefully if I get enough of this music, I will no longer have to love this person. That's a different meaning of this text, isn't it? But then in the 17th century, who wrote the text on this one? Give me a name.
It's Henry Heveningham.
Yeah, who the heck is he? Who knows? Well, 17th century colonel. He was a noble. He was a nobleman in Great Britain, and decided probably that he wanted to make his own spin on this. If music be the food of love, play on is such a beautiful line. It kind of evokes joy in us, right? Play on. This music is so beautiful. So he took it in his own route. Sing on till I am filled with joy. For then my listening soul you move with pleasures that can never cloy. What does cloy mean? It's never in excess. Right? It's kind of a play on the original one. The original Shakespearean meaning. Maybe if I have enough of this, I'll tire of it. No. If you can have as much as you want and you'll never tire of it. That's a different meaning. Okay. Someone else. Nicholas, Aaron, Adam. Somebody read me that text. I want to hear you recite this poetry. Who's doing it?
I got you.
Nice.
All right, the entire thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if music be the food of love, sing on till I am filled with joy. For then my listening soul you move to pleasures that can never cloy. Your eyes, your mien, your tongue declare that you are music everywhere.
Okay, we'll pause there. What does mean? Did you guys talk about this? What does your mean? It's a word we don't use anymore. I'll give you the answer. It's your general characteristic, your character, your presence, your look. It's just how you act, how you carry yourself, how one carries him or herself. Your eyes, your mien, your tongue declare everything about you, that you are music everywhere, right? That's powerful. Please continue, Adam.
Pleasures invade both eye and ear, so fierce their transports are, they wound. And all my senses feasted are, though yet the treat is only sound. Sure I must perish by your charms, unless you save me in your arms.
Mm-hmm. Okay, tell me what that means to someone. Maybe Aaron, if you don't mind me calling on you, buddy. What does that mean to you? What's that text? How would you perform that?
So for the yet the treat is only sound part, what's giving you the most joy is just the sound alone. It's not it can be the visuals, but the majority of it is just coming from the sound. That's what's enlightening you and give you joy. And so you should really express in your voice, because it's saying that sound is what gives people joy. You should be expressing in your voice how much joy is being conveyed.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that should be conveyed on our faces when we perform this piece, right? I'll take it just a little bit deeper. This whole piece, this person is speaking from within him or herself, right? Just for then my listening soul you move, just talking about this beautiful object of his or her love, your eyes, your mien, your tongue. Music is everywhere. Pleasures invade your ears. You're listening to this beautiful music the person is making. So fierce the transports are, they wound. It hurts. It's so beautiful, agonizingly wonderful. And all my senses feasted are. Beautiful. Though yet the treat is only sound. What does that mean? It's only beautiful to listen to. The treat is only sound. There's nothing else there. It's only sound. Sure, I must perish by your charms because it's such beautiful agony, but the last line changes the whole thing. Unless you save me in your arms. That's like, unless there's reciprocity, unless you love me back, right? That changes everything. Whoa. So then at one point, it's just some person like waxing poetic about this wonderful, beautiful singer, for example, but then you get to the end. It doesn't mean anything unless you love me back, right? That's powerful. The whole thing is changed. So now, as performers, as artists, we have to embody that. We have to then communicate that to the audience we're singing to, right? So, let's go through the piece a little bit. Everybody got your music? All right, sweet. If music be the food of love. All right. We start out in beautiful homophony, right? We're singing at the same time. If music be the food of love, sing on, sing on. Let's go to measure 6. Has Mr. Ferdinand given you markings for this? Do you have, I know you have the guide tracks, right? Tell me, are you taking a breath in measure 6 or are you carrying through? Anybody?
I practice it with the breath.
You practice it with the breath? Okay, great. Probably a clean breath on beat 3. Music be the food of love. Sing on, sing on. Yeah. And are you carrying that next one, or are you breaking off after that, the next measure as well?
I just pretty much breathe wherever I saw like the commas where the marks were. So
Okay. That's very intuitive. Awesome. And stagger breathing is our friend, of course, in this whole piece. There are some really long phrases that we don't want to cut off. But anyway, moving on. We've got our phrases here. If music be the food of love, sing on, sing on. Sing on till I am filled with joy. What happens at joy in measure 11, musically speaking? What happens there?
We're holding it.
We're holding a note. Yes, very true. What I think is another thing that's so special, not only are you singing the word joy, gorgeous, text painting, this is the text painting. The composer, Mr. Nicholas Nicholas, where did I get that? I was looking at Nicholas and said Nicholas. David Dicau put a really interesting special chord on joy, right? All of a sudden we have a note that's outside of our key signature. Basses have that gorgeous G flat. We're tonicizing a different key right there for a moment. Joy brings a little bit of extra speciality to the moment, right? You have to bring that out with joy. Yeah, and that's a long note, right? We don't just want to joy. What do we do on long notes like that?
Crescendo or decrescendo.
Yeah, awesome. I think for here, we'll probably want a decrescendo, right? The next dynamic we have is mezzo piano. So let's make that joy ever so special, make it a little tender towards the end, and then coming in on a mezzo piano. So then at 13, we also continue that new kind of modulation into G flat. I mean, our key signature is something different, right? What's the opening key signature? We've got 4 flats. Come on, music theory guys. Who's got it? RJ, what key are we in, man?
we are in A flat major.
Heck yeah, we are. A flat major. And then the joy chord takes us into a different key. All of a sudden we go a whole step down to G flat major. And that continues on for a bit of time, right? Then my listening soul you move brings new meaning to this text. For then my listening soul you move. Pleasures, two pleasures that can never cloy. And then we get into something different. Now what key are we in? Nicholas, what key are we in, man? Guzman. I can't see you anymore.
Sorry, I was switching my laptop because my audio settings weren't working on my original one.
Oh, that's cool, man.
What measure are you talking about?
We're talking measure 19. We all of a
Measure-
sudden have 3 flats.
We are in E flat major.
Mm-hmm. You are the man. Thank you. Yes, pleasures that can never cloy. And then all of a sudden we're in another key again. This is beautiful text painting. Never cloy. They never get tired. The composer is treating your ear to something different. You never get tired, hopefully. Moving on. Your eyes, your mien. Your tongue declare that you are music everywhere. We have our breaths written in here. Make sure we observe all of those little commas that he has written in the score. And then if we shoot over to measure 39, everything changes again, right? We're still in E flat. There's some interesting, cool, different notes over here. But at 39, we're in the new section, right? This is the B section. So this is a different feel altogether, and it's a cappella. Incredible. So another thing I wanted to talk about here is that we have our dynamic here, which is pianissimo, right? Something that is so easy to do when we sing a very soft dynamic is come off the voice. And what do I mean by that? It kind of gets breathy. Instead of a nice mezzo forte, if music be the food of love, right? Connected, full phonation, full tone. But then we get to pianissimo. Pleasures invade both I and ear. We don't ever want to come off the voice and let it get breathy like that. Unless it's like for a really affected, like sort of emotional intent. But these soft dynamics have got to be really intense in general. Anytime you ever sing a soft dynamic, it's got to have and feel like you have more energy on that tone internally than you do for a loud dynamic. For a louder dynamic, it's kind of easy. It's just there for you. The pressure, your breath support is just going to be a little bit more intuitive. You have to sing out anyway. It's going to be there. But the soft dynamics are what's so hard, right? So why don't I have I want a volunteer here. I want someone to sing this little section for us. Just the two measures. I'm not going to ask that much. Who do we have here? You want to do it, RJ? Are you a tenor or a bass?
I am a bass.
All right. I'm going to give you E flat. Come on, iPad. Pleasures invade. Do me a favor on this first. Sing it kind of like a mezzo forte. Sing those two bars on a mezzo forte. Go for it.
Okay. Pleasures invade both eye and ear.
Lovely. Give him some love, y'all. Okay, that was a mezzo forte, right? Take that down. All you're doing is keeping the same tone, but with little bit more energy, breath energy, and still a fullness in your tone, okay? So give me a pianissimo this time. Go for it.
Pleasures invade both eye and ear.
Yeah. It's difficult, right?
Yeah.
And when you're singing as a group, getting a collective pianissimo can be so difficult, right? You can never, however, compromise your own technique. One of the professors at Western Michigan used to say, never sing softer than beautiful. And this is what he meant, right? You don't ever want to come off the voice. Pleasures invade both. That's not great classical technique. That's not beautiful. But pleasures invade both eye and ear. Very, very still, like you've got an internal excitement. Pleasures invade both. It's very, very still full, but soft. Okay? Soft dynamics are intense. Write that down. Remember that. And that continues on. Somewhat slower, measure 46. And all my senses feasted are. Right? Also pianissimo. Just very tender, this whole section. Though yet the treat is only sound. Here we get to that line. We're kind of coming within ourselves. We're questioning, what is this love that I'm so drawn to? Treat is only in the sound. Right? But then, the next page, unless you save me in your arms. And a little bit changes here too. It starts to get a little slower at the top. You see that, right? 61, save me. Longer notes, in your arms. Rallentando, gradual slowing into another pianissimo. That's the climax, man. When do you ever have a pianissimo climax of a piece? That's amazing. That's the turning point, right? Unless you save me in your arms. That's got to be so magic. And you can totally have that come through in your recordings, right? And then back to the next page, top of 11, we come back to the A section again, just for a little bit of a recap before ending strong on a forte, right? So, this piece is very, very sort of joyful, yearning, and legato. Legato line, right? We don't ever want it to be kind of separated here. For example, If music be the food of love. We don't want if music be the food of love. There's no line in that, right? The dynamic kind of shifts. My tone shifts in terms of fullness or a little bit breathy. We want to keep that spinning the whole time. You know, we say keep it spinning. What does that mean? Keeping the vibrato going, natural, connecting everything on a seamless, fluid dynamic. So, you hear the difference. If music be the food of love, sing on. Or, if music be the food of love, sing on. Right? You're having a line. It's more connected. It's not kind of, jagged in terms of dynamic. You're really flowing into these phrases, right? Give it nice little messa de voce, crescendo, decrescendo on these things. Bringing out text. What are the important words here? If music be the food of love. These are the words we're going to. If music be the food of love, sing on, right? Sing on. Continue the music. These are all just little magical bits of this text and this music that you can bring out in your own specific recordings, right? Another thing I want to mention, tongue tension. It's weird, right? I didn't realize how much and how it creeps into our singing, for me especially, that it does. So it comes with over darkening, singing vowels that maybe you're not used to, vowel combinations, pulling the tongue back in funny different positions. I just wanted to mention this, right? Your tongue, except for like R and L or T, D, the top of your mouth, it's just going to stay relaxed. Tip of the tongue, bottom teeth, it can just stay there. Instead of right? If you try to over darken, that tongue pulls back. Not bad. Because that tongue is immediately connected to all this, right? You pull it back, you got your tension right here. No, not good. Also, tenors. I want to talk about high notes for a second. What's my key? If music be the food of love. Don't reach for it. Love. I totally did this in high school. I didn't realize how to sing high notes correctly until college. If music be... No, all from down here. That's breath support. If music be the food of love. Right? From down here. That's where it comes from. Write that down. Moving on. All right, performance practice, you guys. When we're on stage, we want to, like I said before, communicate this as best as possible to the audience, right? We want them to get sucked into the storyline that we're telling them, that we're communicating to them, right? Well, now you have to do it on your own. And that can be daunting, can be embarrassing sometimes. I totally get shy when it's just you in front of a camera. That's nerve-wracking a little bit. It doesn't have to be. So let's talk about a little bit of recording technique. Okay, so when you're doing a recording like this, especially if there's a video component, look into the camera. Find that camera, right? Up here. I'm looking at your faces right now, right? And we're so drawn to what we're doing and checking our face, right? When you're performing, especially for a virtual choir, find that camera. Look into the camera. You're singing to your audience, right? And, maybe you'll have music. You'll have to refer to it. Look up as much as possible. It's so good and beneficial to memorize as much of this as possible, right? Look into the camera, sing to your audience. Yes, don't look at your face. Microphone technique. Depends on what kind of mic you're recording with. I have one of these, like a condenser mic. The closer you get, the more distorted it can sound. You kind of sound like a radio announcer at this point. 104.5 WSNX. There's a Michigan reference. Make sure you're not too close. I like to go maybe about 6 inches to a foot away, all right? If you're recording with headphones like these, and you've got the little microphone right on there, just make sure that it's not rubbing clothing, right? Because that's going to go, right? Sometimes, maybe, it can be a little distracting if you need to hold it out. Not a big deal, though. You want to get the best sound as possible. Just make sure it's not interfering with clothes and just have it there. That's fine, too. Probably don't want to sing into it like this because that's called proximity effect. Just like I was right here. That sounds super weird. Same thing if you do this. I see people talking on the phone like this and holding it right there. I know that's just so the person on the other end can hear them, but this is so bad for recording technique. It's just going to peak and clip, and it's going to be horrible, right? So make sure that mic is in a good position. Pleasing background. Not quite as important. This background, too busy. I wouldn't record something here. But Nicholas's background, there's some depth, that's fine. Adam just in his room, unobtrusive wall behind him, that's okay too. Just something a little pleasing. It can be a solid background, give a little bit of depth between you and the background behind you, so you are very much the focus of this video. Just little interesting things to think about. Okay, now that we've talked about all of this, I am going to make you perform for me as if you're recording this video, okay? So now I'm going to pull up the track here, and you can use your music. If you've got the first couple of pages memorized, awesome. I want you to pretend like you are doing your recording right now. Look into that camera, sing to your audience, sing to us, and give me a little bit of performance practice, applying some of the things that we've just talked about. All right? Everybody ready? Give me a thumbs up when you've got your music and you're ready to do a little singing. All right. Sweet. I will share some sound, and maybe not that screen. I think let me know if you can, give me a thumbs up if you can hear this.
It's a bit quiet.
It's a bit quiet. I'll just do this. Share sound. Alrighty. A little better? Perfect. All right. Here we go. Perform for me. Sing, my angel. All right, great. I'll bet you all have that first page memorized. Yeah? I'll bet you've got it. I'll bet you don't even have to look at your music. In fact, put it away. Let's do the same thing again. Perform. Look into that camera. Imagine you're in front of an audience, right? Even though it's just you. But imagining you're communicating that wonderful, beautiful text, singing straight to that person. Whoever it is, they want to hear it. All right, let's do this. Full tone, legato line. Raise it. Here's the special. All right, some of you guys now, you're singing to the camera. I so appreciate it. But what you think is like happy, joyful stage face, it's probably not necessarily communicating it to the audience, right? I mean, you're so expressive. Everything. Joy, raised eyebrows. There's so much you can do. And I know this is super weird sometimes, but choir is a safe space, okay? We can be a little more exaggerated and overly exaggerated, I sure am, to get the meaning of the text across. I'm going to challenge you to do it one more time and give me some engagement here, okay? Last time. Here we go. Good, you guys. Okay, carry that into the recording, all right? That's so much more special. Okay, it makes such a difference when you're watching people really get into the text that they're performing. It's so beautiful. All right, give yourself some love. Thank you for getting a little bit involved this morning. I appreciate it. Okay, let me finish out this with just a little bit of advice. Okay, I'm on the road a lot with Chanticleer in normal times. We're slowly working on getting back to it. Okay, and the three main things that are just so easy just to immediately implement. Well, two of them easier than others. Sleep, water, and not overusing your voice, right? When I wake up, I have this thing by my bed. I guzzle almost the entire thing. Immediately hydrates your body, gets you ready to go. Boom. It's so important for your voice. Everybody knows what it feels like to have like dry mouth, dry voice. That's horrible. You don't have to feel that way. Just drink water. Sleep. I did not know the benefits and I didn't understand what good sleep was until college. I didn't get any sleep in high school, right? I would wake up at like 5:45 for a 0-hour jazz band. My advice to you, just go to bed. Listen to your body. If you're tired, your body's telling you what it wants to do, and go to bed. Eric knows this, Mr. Jacobson, exactly as much as I do. Our professor, Dr. Zagri, would say this all the time. You are more tired than you think you are. Just think about it. Now think about it again. You're more tired than you think you are. Just go to bed. It's so helpful. God, my grades suffered a little bit in high school because I was falling asleep in class. That's the most simple thing to fix. Get more sleep, stay awake in class, your grades improve. Duh, amazing. Among other things, of course. IPA. Who knows anything about IPA? Raise your hand. International Phonetic Alphabet? Yeah. If you're going to continue on with choral singing at all, or just classical singing in general, IPA is so amazing. It unlocks language for you in a way that, you know, we can phonetically spell out what we think a vowel in a different language sounds like to us, but it might not be completely accurate. What does EH mean? How do I sing that? You know, there's a specific way to write it. And I want to share a little video with you guys. I'll put it in the chat. This is so awesome and helpful. This guy compiled a video of the IPA chart. He'll introduce that to you and give you a taste of what every vowel and some of the consonants sound like. It unlocks vowel and consonants. Like I said, unlocks language. It's amazing. So here's the link. Everybody take this down. Oh, that was a direct message. Excuse me. There we go. Everyone get that? Yeah. Click that video. Watch it later. It's awesome. It's so helpful for choral singing. It's amazing. Yeah. Let's just end out on this, right? Singing can be competitive. Auditioning, you know, you're going to have a lot of auditions in your lives, just in your musical careers, whether professional or as a hobby, okay? You're going to have to deal with rejection, and it's something that we all deal with. It could be something as simple as they're looking for someone who's blonde and not a brunette, right? It's, who knows? Who knows why you hear no's? But as long as you are super prepared, you know your music front and back, and you walk into that room confident, happy to share your gift with the world, you're gonna get work. You're gonna get into the group you want. You're gonna sing the music that you want to sing, because eventually you're gonna find that right opportunity. If you hear a no, then that just wasn't your opportunity. It was someone else's, and yours will come later. Okay? Just know that yes, it's competitive, but all of us here are only in pursuit of art, right? We're just elevating the human experience. We're sharing art with the world. We're sharing gifts with an audience. That's what it's all about, right? We wouldn't really be able to have all of these amazing experiences if no one wanted to listen to it. So just know that we're all in the pursuit of art. Lift people up. Awesome. I'm so happy for you that you got that job. Yeah, dude. Awesome. Amazing. And yours will come later. Or sooner than later. Who knows? Everybody's in it together, you know? That's the beautiful thing. Okay, I've talked a lot. I have 4 minutes left. I think we want to get ready for the next session, but if there's any quick questions right at the end, I'm happy to answer them about professional singing, life, and or technique, whatever you want to ask. Go for it. And Eric and Mr. Jacobson, can moderate and you know, end it whenever you see fit. even if it's now.
No, you're fine. I think we have some time. The next session is soprano alto, and everyone's invited to attend that. So if you need to jump off and jump onto that call, go ahead. But I think we can spend a couple minutes if anyone has questions for Andy.
Okay.
Andy, I'm gonna ask a question to lead. What was it like? Because you've been in the professional choral world, you've been in the professional a cappella, professional kind of pop, singing on Oprah, John Oliver. What are the differences in those worlds? And maybe what did you enjoy most? And I'm gonna push you a little bit. What is like the cruise world like? Because that's a big avenue for professional musicians.
Yeah. Wow. That's a huge question. What are the differences? Obviously, technique. I wanted to be as well-rounded of a musician as possible, and I was studying music. I sang some jazz. I sang classical. I played drums with some ensembles. I wanted to get my hands on as much as I did. I did marching band. Just being able to talk to a variety of different musicians and have that vocabulary of different styles and technique in your head is so helpful if you want to go between genres. They're a little bit different in terms of like personnel and auditioning and just knowing who you know. Really, a lot of it comes down to networking. Just be a nice person, talk to people, get to know people, know their names, because who knows, they might actually get you a job in the future. My first two jobs were from one of my peers at Western Michigan. He was a couple of years older than me, got into the industry, got me my first two jobs in my professional career. So knowing people and being a good person goes so far. Okay, just be willing to experiment, be open-minded, be flexible. Cruise industry. Cruise industry is a little bit like the musical theater industry and production singing in a way. Very quick little short auditions. They have so many people to listen to. But being a good person, like I said, and having a knowledge or basic knowledge of different styles is going to be really helpful for cruise ship work and production singing for that matter. Those are the things off the top of my head, at least, that I can come up with.
That's great. Thanks. I think Nick had a question.
I was gonna say, what was kind of like the process of you getting into Chanticleer, and what was kind of what gravitated you towards Chanticleer? Because I know that's kind of like, oh, hey, I'm just in like college. Oh, no, like, look, I'm with one of the best recording vocal groups of like all time, basically.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get into Chanticleer until 5 years after I graduated college. So I had already been kind of performing around in a more contemporary sort of pop musical theater style, however you want to put it. It was actually Blake Morgan, who you're going to hear from later today, who kind of encouraged me to really apply and send in my materials, because I've known about Chanticleer since high school. It was originally put on a mix CD from my high school choir director, just to kind of like, show us the pinnacle of choral music, and from a variety of different groups. Cantus was on there. I've known about them for a while. I never thought I might be singing with them at one day, but it just so happened that Blake was like, "Hey, you should audition. You should apply." So I sent in my stuff, and I was lucky enough to have the right combination of skills for the right moment, and the person whose voice part that I was perfect for decided to move on from the group that year. So I only had to audition once, and I was able to get in. In terms of Chanticleer auditions are far more rigorous than any like professional choral ensemble than you're going to find out there. Normally, if you go into an ensemble audition, you're probably going to sing one or two pieces, maybe like one in a different language and one in English, and then they'll have you sight read a little bit, and it'll be over in 15 minutes. The Chanticleer audition was a weekend. We got there, we rehearsed with an accompanist. The next day we sang two pieces in a recital for all the members of Chanticleer and all of their major donors and board members. So it was a big nerve-wracking audience. And then the next, we had a musicality audition with the music director and assistant music director. And then the following day, we had what they call the ensemble day, which is where they intersperse the auditionees throughout the members of Chanticleer in a big circle. And we sight read choral music for 3 hours. And it was super fun and super scary and nerve-wracking, but such an amazing experience. I left there going, oh my God, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. But then, you know, soon enough, I mean, a lot of it was just to kind of test your boundaries, test your limits. How far can you go and still hang? And I did all right, I guess. But yeah, most of the time it's just going to be, you know, sing a couple of pieces, sight read a little bit, good. But yeah. And there are many professional choral ensembles in the country. Chanticleer is only one of 2 full-time professional ensembles. We're lucky enough to do this like year-round. We don't have another job. This is our full-time job. It's crazy. But there are a lot of ensembles in the country that are professional, but only part-time or seasonal. You know, they'll put together a performance in 3 to 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks of rehearsal, maybe even less, actually, probably 2 weeks sometimes. And then you'll do a concert series, and then you'll move on to something else. So now more than ever, it's possible to become a professional choral singer and make it work, even if you don't have one of the full-time positions like Chanticleer or Cantus.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Andy. Thanks, guys, for your questions and for being here. This is going to be posted for later so other people can watch it. We can share it around. I'm sure we can probably get Andy's contact information if any of you 4 guys have some other questions, or you can send it to me too and I can connect with him. Thanks so much, Andy. I'm going to stop the recording. Gentlemen, you can eat now, or